The battle on Naboo took an unexpected turn when the duel against Darth Maul changed the fate of the galaxy forever. Obi-Wan, in his youthful boldness, faced the Sith with courage but was fatally wounded. His last eyes turned to Qui-Gon Jinn, who in despair saw his apprentice fall before him. The pain was intense, but it also gave the Master the strength he needed to defeat Maul, piercing him with his green lightsaber in one decisive blow. At that moment, Qui-Gon knew that the loss of Obi-Wan would change not only his path, but the destiny of the chosen boy. Anakin watched everything from afar, still confused by the events unfolding before him. Obi-Wan's death awakened in him a mixture of fear and determination, as if the universe were pushing him into a new role. When the dust of battle settled, Qui-Gon made the decision that he would train the boy, no longer as an act of defiance against the Council, but as a silent promise to his fallen friend. This initial bond between master and apprentice was born in pain, but would soon be strengthened by mutual trust. Back on Coruscant, the Jedi Council received the news of Obi-Wan's death with grief, and many believed it was a sign that Qui-Gon had been wrong to insist on training Anakin. Mace Windu and other masters argued that the boy carried risks that could unbalance the order. Yoda, in his calm voice, simply commented, "Great loss, we feel. But in boy, I still see future." The Council, pressured by Qui-Gon's insistence, relented, allowing Anakin to be officially trained as an apprentice. From the early days, Anakin found in Qui-Gon not only a master, but a father figure. Unlike the other masters of the Council, the Jedi did not restrict him with excessive dogma, but taught him to trust his intuition and not repress his feelings. "The Force flows through you, Anakin. Don't fight it, learn to listen to it," Qui-Gon would say during training at the temple. This approach allowed the boy to grow up without carrying the weight of fear or guilt, becoming more confident and balanced than many imagined. Another point that brought the two closer together was Anakin's relationship with his mother. Qui-Gon, having known her and seen the pain of separation on Tatooine, did not turn a blind eye to this bond. Whenever possible, he took the boy on missions close to the system, allowing him to visit her. Although uncomfortable, the other masters could not deny the results. Anakin was becoming increasingly focused, strong, and disciplined. "My master, when I see my mother, I feel that everything makes sense," said the boy. Qui-Gon simply replied, "Balance comes from who you are, not from what others try to impose on you." Over the years, Anakin developed impressive skills. His mastery of the Force grew at an unusual speed, and his confidence was reflected in the battles he fought alongside his master. On missions for the Senate, Organa and other leaders came to recognize him as a tireless protector. The young man's eyes were not filled with the anxiety of someone who was repressed, but shone with the courage of someone who believed in himself and the path he was building. Yoda watched this progress closely. "Without fear, the boy walks. But attentive we must remain," Qui-Gon replied firmly. "He is the chosen one, Master Yoda. The Force does not guide him through fear, but through balance." This dialogue reflected the contrast between the masters. While the Council was still suspicious, Qui-Gon fully believed that he was shaping the future that the Jedi had been waiting for. In battle, Anakin did not hesitate to make quick decisions. His boldness was very reminiscent of his master's style, and this created both admiration and concern among the Republic generals. When facing enemies, he remained steadfast, but without letting anger guide him. "You fight with clarity, Anakin," Qui-Gon would say after training. "Because I am not afraid, Master. I know who I am," replied the young man, showing the confidence he had built. With the start of the Clone Wars, Anakin became a key player. His leadership inspired the clones, and his presence on the battlefield changed the course of the fighting. The soldiers saw him not only as a general, but as someone who trusted each of their lives. Qui-Gon, at his side, saw a promising future that confirmed his intuitions since Naboo. Still, he sensed that great challenges were approaching. Obi-Wan's death shaped a different path for the galaxy. Qui-Gon and Anakin, united by the Force and their shared rebelliousness, formed a unique duo. While the Council remained in doubt, destiny was being carved out by decisions beyond the control of the most rigid masters. The young chosen one grew in strength and wisdom, and soon the universe would see how far he could go. During the battle on Geonosis, Anakin demonstrated the full fruit of his training. In his confrontation with Dooku, he advanced with determination, always remembering Qui-Gon's lessons about not letting himself be consumed by anger. The duel was intense, the sabers illuminating the shadows of the cave where they fought. At a decisive moment, Anakin managed to disarm the Count, leaving him vulnerable. But Anakin backed away, turning off his lightsaber. "You are my master's master. You will be judged by the Senate." When Yoda and Qui-Gon arrived at the scene, they saw Dooku surrendered, trapped by Anakin's force. It was a shock to everyone, as the Republic now had one of the greatest separatist leaders in its hands. Qui-Gon smiled at his disciple, proud of his decision. "You made the right choice, Anakin." The Council, though reluctant, could not deny the wisdom of the decision. Dooku was taken prisoner to Coruscant, and balance seemed to have found a new chance. The following months were marked by victories for the Republic. Anakin, increasingly recognized, became a symbol of hope. However, Palpatine, acting in the shadows, did not give up on his plans. He manipulated events so that Dooku would be freed in a coordinated attack, spreading mistrust among the Jedi. It was a mistake to keep him alive, some masters murmured, but Qui-Gon defended. The mistake was not sparing him, but not watching him wisely. The decisive moment came when Anakin, investigating Dooku's connections, discovered Palpatine's true intentions. The revelations shook him, but he did not hesitate to seek out his master. "Master, the Chancellor is the Sith Lord we were looking for. He has been manipulating everything from the beginning." Qui-Gon nodded, his eyes heavy with seriousness. "Then the time has come, Anakin. Let us face the darkness together." In Palpatine's office, the confrontation took shape. The Sith awaited them, and beside him stood Dooku, ready to fight again. "I see that fate has brought us all back to the same stage," Palpatine said with a cold smile. Anakin advanced on the Chancellor, while Qui-Gon faced his former master. The duel illuminated the darkness of the room, two distinct combats that carried decades of history and destiny. Anakin and Palpatine fought fiercely. The young Jedi, now at the height of his power, resisted the Force lightning, blocking it with his lightsaber and his own energy. "You cannot defeat me, boy." "I control your destiny," Anakin replied firmly. "My destiny is not controlled by anyone." With one precise blow, he pierced Palpatine's chest, ending his decades of manipulation. Meanwhile, Qui-Gon faced Dooku. The Count, still agile and experienced, reminded him of his past. "You never understood true power, Qui-Gon. You were always blind. But the Master stood firm, and you were always a prisoner of your ambition." The duel was long and brutal, but Dooku landed a fatal blow, striking Qui-Gon in the abdomen. The Master fell to his knees, looking at his apprentice amid the chaos. Anakin, seeing his master wounded, rushed to help him, but Dooku stood in his way. Anakin advanced with restrained fury, and the clash of sabers lit up the room like lightning in the darkness. Dooku stared at him coldly, trying to destabilize him with cutting words. "You've always been impulsive, boy. You will never be more than a shadow of your master." But Anakin no longer carried the doubt that had once weakened him. His blows were firm, fast, and the Force seemed to guide him in every movement. Dooku, though experienced, was beginning to realize that Anakin's youth and confidence were a threat that even his refined technique could not contain. The Count retreated, trying to use the environment to his advantage, projecting debris with the Force. But Anakin deflected it as naturally as he breathed. The fight became a fierce dance, sabers crossing in incessant sparks. Dooku launched a treacherous blow, aiming for Anakin's flank, but the young man spun in a jump, returning the blade with impressive speed. The Count gasped, feeling the weight of each attack, his elegance giving way to desperate defense. At a decisive moment, Anakin swung his saber in a devastating arc, disarming Dooku with a blow that sent his red blade flying through the air. The Sith fell to his knees, exhausted, looking up at the young man who now dominated him. "Do what must be done," he whispered, waiting for the final blow. Anakin took a deep breath, his eyes fixed on the enemy who had caused him so much pain. There is no escape for you now. With a firm movement, he pierced the Count's chest, ending his journey once and for all. Then he ran to Qui-Gon, fallen and wounded, kneeling beside him. "Master, I failed to keep you alive." Qui-Gon, with one last smile, replied, "You did not fail. You honored me by sparing Dooku on Geonosis. Today you did what was necessary. The balance is in you." With tears in his eyes, Anakin listened to his master's last words before he departed. At that moment, the Chosen One understood the true meaning of the Force. It was not about absolute power, but about balance, compassion, and the courage to make difficult decisions. The fate of the galaxy was now in his hands. After Qui-Gon's death, Anakin returned to the Council, carrying with him not only victory over the Sith, but also the weight of loss. The Masters received him solemnly, recognizing the role he had played. Yoda spoke slowly. "Chosen One, you have proven yourself. Wisdom in you I see. In the Council, your place is." For the first time, there was no opposition. Anakin was named a Master, honoring Qui-Gon's legacy. As a Master of the Council, Anakin brought about important changes. Inspired by Qui-Gon's teaching, he insisted that the Jedi value personal bonds more and not blindly repress their emotions. "It is not emotion that leads to the dark side, but the inability to deal with it," he said in his speeches. Many young Padawans came to see him as a guide who understood the difficulties of life and the challenges of the Force. The times of war continued, but without Palpatine, the Republic was rising again. Leaders like Bail Organa worked closely with the Jedi, trusting Anakin as a mediator and protector. He did not carry the shadow of mistrust, but the glow of someone who had chosen balance. Soldiers and civilians saw him as a true hero, capable of bringing peace even in the midst of chaos. The memory of Qui-Gon remained alive in his mind. Whenever he walked through the corridors of the temple, Anakin remembered his conversations with his master. "Trust who you are," he would say. Those words echoed in every decision he made, becoming the cornerstone of his journey as a Jedi. The loss of Obi-Wan and then Qui-Gon shaped his path, but also strengthened him as a leader.